Hello everyone, my name is Victoria Cunha, and I'm going to be presenting the topic of teen suicide. Before I begin, I wanted to add a couple of helplines here on the right. Always know that help is here. Here are some statistics. While suicide is the 10th most common cause of death among all Americans of all ages in 2017, it was the second leading cause of death among young Americans aged 15 to 24. Here on the third slide, I'm going to be discussing teen suicide and gun ownership. Guns are one of the leading causes of suicide, especially with young people. In 2016, nearly 60% of all firearm deaths were suicides. In that same year, more than 1,000 people between the ages of 10 and 19 died by suicide by firearm. In 2017, 43.1% of youth suicides involved a firearm. In a detailed study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine, it documents the close link between higher suicide rates among youth and levels of household gun ownership. A team of public health researchers at Boston University found that for each 10% increase in household gun ownership in a U.S. state, the youth suicide rate increased by more than 25%. And this is the overall rate, not just the firearm related. The study tracks the connection between youth suicide and household gun ownership across U.S. states from 2005 to 2015. The 4 states with the highest youth suicide rates, which are Alaska, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana, also have the highest rates of firearm ownership. Likewise, 3 of the 4 states with the lowest rates of youth suicide, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, are in the bottom 4 levels of gun ownership. This study also explains that a higher prevalence of gun ownership is not associated with merely a shift from non-firearm to firearm suicide, but instead it is actually associated with an increase in overall suicide rate. On this slide, I'm going to be discussing risk factors. Some youth suicide risk factors can include persistent stress, acute loss or rejection, bullying, childhood abuse, trauma, social isolation, family violence, or disruption. I also want to go on to say that these are risk factors because many children don't have an outlet away from these things. They don't even realize that they're issues until they're adults or teenagers. And I believe that's why a lot of people have childhood trauma. Have you ever discussed some of your stories and you're like, oh wait, that wasn't normal? So many of these things can be factors. Warning signs of suicide. Talking about wanting to die, great guilt of shame, or being a burden to others. The feeling of empty, hopeless, trapped, or having no reason to live. Extremely sad, more anxious, agitated, or full of rage. Unbearable emotion or physical pain. Changing behavior such as making a plan or researching ways to die, withdrawing from friends, saying goodbye, giving away important items, or making a will. Taking dangerous risks such as driving really fast, displaying extreme mood swings, eating or sleeping more or less, using drugs or alcohol more often. Number 1, know the signs. 4 out of 5 suicide deaths are preceded by warning signs such as suicidal threats, previous suicide attempts, preoccupation or obsession with death, depression, and final arrangements. Number 2, mandated suicide prevention trainings for every school and for the entire staff. Number 3, improving access to mental health resources. Number 4, Make it easier for children and teens to seek resources. Implement a time every week where children are free to and able to talk and express to someone what they're feeling, whatever that might be. Give them a time for their voices to be heard. And finally, educating people. Educating teens about the importance of mental health is an essential preventive measure that needs to be taken by parents and school systems. Many adolescents and young adults might not even recognize symptoms of mental health condition or might even mistake warning signs as normal. This confusion and lack of information can make suicidal thoughts all more dangerous, as teenagers and even young children might not know how to find help or that help is even an option.